Do you want to know what the market's doing? Well, yeah, most people do. Not a big deal because I'm here to solve that problem for you. So our Bakersfield market is popping. I'm going to bring on an expert to help you see the back end with some of the numbers. One of my local lenders that I work with very often, his name is Dan Artis. We're going to answer the questions so that you know, like, how long are days on market? What are the rates? What are the programs? What should we expect? How's the Bakersfield market? So all of that coming up next. Thank you so much for coming back. I am Angel, your local Bakersfield Realtor. If you are thinking about moving to Bakersfield, being a part of this incredible community and calling this place home, buying some real estate in the state of California, I'm your girl. A call, a text, an email. We'll get that process started. My team and I would love to help you get qualified, make sure we know what you can buy so that it doesn't sink you, and make sure your job will transfer, all the things. And then you can call this place home and I'll probably run into you at Costco. So all that to say, I'm here to help you. So hang tight. All right, Dan. So, hey, here you are. Thank you for coming on my channel again. It's good to see you. Yay.
Always glad to be here. And I am a loyal Costco shopper as well. So I will see you over there. And I also heard that they're actually going to be releasing chicken tenders and fries now pretty soon.
At Costco?
Yeah. So there's a market update for you right there. Craziness.
Like, it better be $1.50. That's all I got to say. It better be cheap. I'm tired of food being expensive.
Sadly.
Okay,
so
Dan.
What's going on in the market? Everybody wants to know, where's interest rates at? What's going on? Dan, when is my payment going to go down? All that kind of stuff.
Bring it.
Okay, well, I'll just kind of spitfire a few things and we can talk about it. All right. Okay. So pretty much what I'm seeing conventional rates somewhere in the high sixes. I'm seeing FHAs in the low sixes as far as rates going. So the cool thing there is that we were in the sevens for a little while there, pretty solidly in the sevens.
Yeah.
So, what we're seeing is that it's getting a little bit more affordable for people to own a home. There's a little more market activity. I'm sure you've seen a big pickup in things, Angel, too, just like as I have. People are wanting to move all of a sudden, where they were kind of slow there for a little.
I think they just kind of realized that they didn't need to wait anymore. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, exactly. They just finally realized, like, hey, enough's enough. I'm out of here. I gotta move. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And really, that's what we're constantly talking about the most, I would say, is I had a conversation with somebody the other day. She's thinking about moving to Idaho. And she was like, we could rent out our house, and if the rates go down, we've got a 3, whatever. She's got 3 littles. I was like, your kids might see 3, but we're not going to see 3 in this lifetime. No, we're not going to see. She's like, really? I was like, no, enjoy your 3, but like make your decisions, but not based on the 3. Because Dan, am I right? Are we going to see 3 again? We're not going to see 3.
No, I don't think we're going to see 3 again either. No. And what we are going to see is the house values continue to go up. So buy now. Stop waiting. Like that's the big thing, is like buy now, because even okay, now here's so I'm going to look on my other screen and read some stuff that I prepared.
That's all right.
Okay.
Here,
Zillow released their housing report for May, and it shows that home prices in the month of May rose 0.8% in the 1 month. And in April, it was 1.2%. So that's what Zillow is saying. Now they're saying that year over year, we're up 3.9%. And that's actually lower than other estimates that are out there.
Okay.
So something to think about is that every year we're going up the 4 or 5% because the supply and demand is crazy right now.
Yes.
More people need a home than there are homes available for those people.
And a lot of people get, forgive me, they get their pissy pants on and they say, why would somebody want to buy a house right now? Or why would somebody want to move? And it's like, you know what? Life happens. People pass. People want to downsize. Kids graduate. People want to relocate. Like, life happens. We can't be all stuck waiting for all the roses and rainbows all the time. Like, life happens, and people are going to buy and sell all the time. That's why you do not wait.
That's what we're
seeing
now too.
Yes. Say it again.
People that have been wanting to do that and just couldn't wait anymore are finally doing it because they realize the rates aren't changing for 2 years now. Yeah. I'm tired of this house. I'm tired of whatever situation I'm in. I gotta make a move.
Right. We're bulging at the seams. We have this 3, but since I got the 3 dot whatever in 2020, I've had 3 kids and there's no more room for us. We got to go.
Here's an interesting perspective on that too, because everybody that's got a 3% interest rate if they have any kind of debt at all on credit cards, I mean, credit card interest rates are like 26, 29% right now. You've got a 3% mortgage, but you're riding the big, huge, interest rate on your debt. Sometimes we can make it work where it makes sense for you to do some debt consolidation as you move up.
Yes.
Right. So you sell one home, you take the equity out of that home. You don't use all of it on the next house. You use some of it. But then I have a lot of people that like pay off a car in the middle too. Yes. So yeah, their mortgage payment goes up, XYZ amount per month because, they needed that extra room or the, bigger yard or whatever. But at the same time, they're knocking out like a $600 car payment, and so it makes the payment shock not as crazy. So there's a lot of equity in people's houses that they can use to help make their overall budget pretty good, right? Everybody's really focused on just the monthly payment on the mortgage only. There's other ways to kind of like financially do some things that make you not feel the pain of the new payment quite as much.
Yeah. For those that are new here, Dan and I chatted about this exact scenario with the debt and the low interest rate and the comparison between the two in January of 2024. So if you wanted to go back and watch that video, he's repeating the exact same thing that he said back then of like,
because it still works. It's still the truth,
The math is the math, right?
Yep.
Are you seeing that people are really still just up to their eye? I mean, because stuff is expensive now. I was just talking about that Costco chicken and fries or whatever. That better be under $2 because I'm tired of paying for a lot of money. And I'm like, this is just food. This is just sustenance. This isn't even like a trip anywhere. This is just a meal. Like, I'm so tired of food being expensive. Everything's expensive, but like, what are you seeing out there?
So I see a lot more debt than I used to. People's car payments have gone way up.
Yeah.
Right? It used to be like $300 or $400 a month. I'm seeing $600, $700, $800
for a car payment
all the time. For a car, yeah, all the time. That's different than it used to be, right? So yes, people are swimming in more of this debt and just this burden that they have on them, because everything's more expensive. Even though inflation has come down, like the last CPI data actually came down a little bit, just a small amount. So we were up to like 9% on inflation. We're like in the 3s right now. Now the Fed's target is the 2%. That's where they want it to be before they bring back some of their restrictive policies and things like that. That's what they want to see, which I think is kind of an unrealistic target, to be honest. It's going to be a while till we're there. And that really means they have to do a lot of damage to get us there. So
did you say they have to do a lot of damage to get us there? Is that
what you said? Because that's what they're doing is they're raising the Fed funds rate, which means borrowing money is more expensive. So it's what's hurting the banks. Like we've all heard that the banks are having a hard time, right?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're causing a certain level of pain. Like you can look back at Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, and he said that, there's going to be a certain level of pain, so that's the idea is that's how they slow down people spending like crazy. Like we were doing during COVID.
That guy is not my favorite. I just have to say he's a bit like the Wizard of Oz of like, what's he going to do? Like no person should have that much power. And he is not an unbiased individual that works independently. He has people in his pockets that need certain things. And that is what makes me insane. Sorry, a little bit of a rant, but like he's the Wizard of Oz. Like he's the one that's like, moving all the things around where you think it's all organic. And it's really just a big freaking show that just impacts way too many people because he has too much power. Sorry.
Correct. And then they're also looking in the rearview mirror too much too. So they're looking at old data to make their current decisions instead of looking at what damage they've done and what that's going to do. It's sort of looking in the rearview mirror that they're going to end up doing too much damage and then having to backtrack it instead of going, hey, what we did 3 or 4 months ago is actually like going to be showing up in the data in a couple months because, if they're affecting things that change like rents or whatever, like people sign year-long leases. It takes a little while for like rents to come back down and things like that because they're in a lease and they want to try to get a new one that's lower, right? There's things like that they're looking in the rearview mirror. They're looking at old data, making decisions right now. But at the same time, I did see the Fed's dot plot come out recently. So the Fed's dot plot is the 19 voting members dot plot. So what that means is the 19 voting members vote on where they see the rates being in the coming years, and they put a dot on the chart where they think that the rates will be. And so then you can get a consensus of what the voting members anticipate as far as the Fed funds rate goes. And it is coming down in 25 and 26. So they're all assuming that they're going to be lowering the Fed funds rate, which is not mortgage rates. Don't forget, Fed funds rate is a very different thing. That's the bank rate. That's why you're seeing car loans so expensive. That's why you're seeing home equity lines of credit be expensive. That's good because they go get the money from the Fed, like in that sense. And so that's why people are offering 3.5% on a savings account or whatever, because they'd rather pay you 3.5% than go pay the Fed 5.25%.
Right.
For that same money. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're all seeing the rates starting to come down on the Fed funds rate, which then, helps mortgage rates on the backside as well, but they're not the same thing.
Can I give you my theory?
Yeah.
You can call it a tinfoil hat theory if you'd like. I have a feeling that their numbers or the rates, the mortgage lending rates, will drop after Labor Day. And my thought on that is everybody gets excited. It's Q3 and Q4, which generally tends to be a little slower in the real estate industry. So Home Depot and Lowe's and Target and all of the, Wayfair, all the big dogs that have giant stockholder boards, right? Not to mention the big three that we battle, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. They all want to make money in Q3 and Q4. And added bonus, everybody takes their eyes off of November 5th. So then everybody's like, I'm getting a house, blah, blah, blah. The world's going to end on November 6th, whatever they think. But whatever they think. So I have a feeling my hat thinks that they're going to just suddenly hit all of these numbers that they are predicting that they just can't hit through the summer months. They're going to hit them in early to mid-September. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
I think rates are starting to come down too. And all it's going to take is a bad jobs number, which is good for rates. Okay. So don't take it the wrong way. But what we're going to need is to show that people are starting to lose their jobs and that new jobless claims are being filed on a faster pace before we're going to see the rates start to come down. So
that's the key indicator that we need to look for.
That jobs are slowing before they're going to lower the rates. Now, speaking of tin hats, here's mine. So my tin hat is that the BLS jobs numbers are a complete bologna sandwich, if you will.
Yeah.
Because the BLS jobs numbers come from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics.
That's what I mean.
And so that is the federal government. And unfortunately, their numbers that are coming out are very significantly different than the ADP numbers that have been coming out as well. So they're saying two different things. So the ADP is saying, hey, there's not very many new jobs happening. In fact, there's job losses happening. It's more in the negative range of category. The BLS jobs numbers like, oh, we had a blockbuster number of new jobs created. It's great, stuff like that. But the problem is their birth death model is not correct. Their birth death model that they use to generate the birth of new businesses and the death of businesses.
Okay.
So that's their birth death model, right? That is based off small businesses. But ADP, you have to remember, ADP is the people that do the pay stubs. So they know probably better actual data of who's starting and stopping jobs, right?
You think? Yeah.
So they're telling two very different stories, and the BLS jobs data it does not add up. And then every month when it comes out, it sends the rates up because it looks so great. But then the following month, it's revised lower. But of course, at that point, it's old news and nobody cares. And
right.
The rates. But man, if we had been having accurate numbers, you better believe the interest rates would be a lot lower right now because we would have had 4 or 5 months of consecutive blockbuster good numbers for the BLS and bringing the rates down.
Do government jobs affect the BLS numbers? Because all I see are more and more government jobs. I don't see small business growth. I don't see, a lot of things that would indicate that people are, and I'm not trying to just be Debbie Downer, but do they count government jobs in those numbers? Because it seems like they don't.
They do. Yeah, I'm sure they do. It's labor wide. But the thing is too is the initial jobless claims numbers have gone up as well. So they are starting to inch up. Like people filing new unemployment, right, is starting to inch up every month. It's higher and higher and higher and higher. So it feels like we're at the top of the slope and it's about to, now, not saying that I wish that on our country,
No,
right?
no,
Like
that's the
we want
thing.
people to have jobs and employment, but
Exactly.
in the idea of speaking specifically to rates,
Yes.
it's good for rates when the jobs aren't so great. So they're keeping the rates up in order to slow the spending. And so did we bring prices back down? So there isn't so much demand for products so that the amount of it, the cost of them go way up, right? So we're starting to see that. And I agree that I think this year we're going to see the slope of it and it's going to start, moving maybe to the lower sixes for conventionals. And maybe we're going to see a 5.999 for FHA or 5.875, something like that. You know what I mean? This year. That's kind of what it seems like to me, but barring World War III, who knows?
It feels like it's a shell game. It feels like it's, I'm on the side of the road in Vegas and somebody's, which one's got $5,000 on it, ma'am? Pick that one. Like it feels like that sometimes of like, what this number is directing that number, but then you know what I mean? It's like, so no wonder people are like, peace out. I'm just going to rent and I'm going to live my life. Do you have a lot of people that come to you that are trying to weigh out the difference between renting and buying and what that cost looks like for them?
For sure. So people are getting squeezed out because the rents keep going up too. And so the mortgages are high, the rents are high. So they're realizing, man, it's not that much more and probably maybe even the same to buy versus continuing to rent and continuing to fill my landlord's bank account. I would rather be putting that towards my principal balance on my loan and not to my landlord. So definitely seeing a lot of that too, that people are really feeling the pinch on rent. And why is that? It's because of sheer supply and demand. There are not enough homes for the amount of bodies that need a home in the US.
How do they get to the point where they're like, okay, I'm maxed out, I'm paying everything and everybody, and I don't own this house. How can I even think about saving money for a down payment? Like, what should they do?
Right. Well, they can do a few things. So what they should do is trying to pay their debt down. That's a big thing. Getting some of that down. The other thing too is there are some new programs that are out. So I have a brand new 0% down program that is conventional as long as you have a 700 credit score or up.
Nice.
Okay? What you do is it's a 97% first mortgage. Okay. Then there is a second mortgage tacked on as well. That's the 3% that would have been the down payment.
Okay.
So now you're borrowing the 3% for the down payment as well. That is a silent second. So you're not paying payments on it. It's also not accruing interest. So it's just basically it's free borrowed money, right? Now it's not a grant, it's not a gift or whatever. Like it has to be paid back. It's either A, it's paid back when you refi.
Okay.
It's paid when you sell.
Okay.
Or it's paid as a balloon payment on the end of your 360th payment.
Okay.
You're at the end of the 30 years, it's a balloon payment.
Okay.
But that's not accruing interest over those years or whatever. Like, if it was $7,000 at the beginning, it'll be $7,000 at the end. That's a way that people can get in without as much money up front, right? And then, maybe once the spring buying season is slowed, if rates haven't come down a lot yet, maybe they could get in and get some closing cost help from a seller potentially.
Okay.
So some combo of the down payment assistance and the seller credit, maybe they could get themselves into a house for not that much. That's been coming through really good for us with the 3% down. I mean, the 0% down, but that's, technically a 3% down loan, but then they come in and they lend you the 3%. So that's been a really good program for us.
Does that require private mortgage insurance as well? Like an FHA? Okay.
It's a conventional loan at its core, all the same. It's actually a Home One loan. So a Home One is Freddie Mac's version of the 3% down program.
Okay.
And so it's a conventional loan. So it does have mortgage insurance, which now the mortgage insurance on a conventional loan is based on your credit score and based on the risk factors of the loan. So it's all, so if you have a good credit, 780, 800, something like that, your mortgage insurance is still gonna be pretty small, even in that 3% down range. So
that's good to know. Or even better, one of my favorite loans is a VA loan, 0% down. And your credit does not even, your credit can be kind of chunky and you don't have PMI, private mortgage insurance.
Yep, correct. So
I
that's
think
a
that's one of
great perk for our veterans for sure, 100%. So if anybody's got any sort of military service, we definitely need to take a look to see if you're eligible for VA benefits, and then take advantage of it for sure.
This is our trends graphic that we have on the MLS. And so when we talk about months of inventory this was from last month, May of 2024 was still a seller's market, up 6% compared to last month. Like, that's a significant jump.
It was just like overnight, all of a sudden it's like everybody wants to buy a house. Like, whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then we've got, what is sold and what is for sale, which these numbers were kind of dramatic. Now they're getting closer to close. And this goes to your point of like, not enough homes for not enough buyers. Like, we got our ratios are off, and then we've got like obviously days on market. Let me see, show those numbers. So 28 in May. That's less than a month of you being on market to get under contract. And price per square foot is slowly increasing. And then the numbers of houses for sale versus sold. Again, too many and not enough. Like, these guys need to be closer. And then the higher this goes, am I understanding this right? When this one goes higher, that means we've got more buyers. Am I understanding that right? Or do I have that?
Pending means that the houses are tied up. So
yeah. They're not available.
They're not technically inventory because they're under contract. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this consistent with what you're seeing? I mean, 1.8, I don't know what a 0.8 is of a month, but
yeah. So basically the amount of inventory so basically if there was no new homes that were brought onto market, then it would be 1.8 months until they were just gone. We would have nothing left.
Yeah.
Is my understanding of it.
Yeah, no, mine too. I just don't know what a 0.8 of a month is, unless it's 8 days.
It's a very small amount of inventory is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So Dan, tell me, what do you think we're going to do for the rest of the summer? We're in the thick of the spring selling market. Both you and I have a lot of escrows. How many of you got going on? How many people?
7 right now. Yeah.
7 that are under contract that you're working on closing, but you probably have more people getting qualified and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen through this summer? What is your, not tinfoil hat prediction, just prediction?
I think that rates are going to, they're not going to move a whole lot during the summer, maybe an eighth or a quarter. I don't know if we're going to get the data, because I feel like it's rigged anyway. We're not going to get, you know what I mean? I don't think we're going to get the data that's going to move the market that dramatically in the next month or two. But at the same time, I think now is the time to buy, because we keep seeing the houses get more expensive. And we all know that the second there's any sort of significant interest rate drop, well, NAR came out recently that said for every 1% off on the interest rates, like 5 million more people become eligible to buy.
Dear God.
In the US. So I'm just saying that, like, if we have any sort of meaningful drop in rates, there's going to be all kinds of new people come into market, all kinds of more competition, which means the house is probably not going to go for list anymore. It's going to go a little over list, or you're going to have to waive inspections or something.
Yeah.
So, I keep telling people, buy now, and then you can refi it later.
I say this all the time. If you are a first-time home buyer, and Bakersfield is full of first-time home buyers, our buyer pool is coming from Northern and Southern California predominantly. And if you are a first-time home buyer from one of those areas and you're moving to Bakersfield, it will not be your forever house. 3 to 5 years, maybe, until you move up, over, and out. Whatever you decide to do. Your first home, and you could back me up on this, is rarely your forever home.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 5 to 7 years is the average. Yep. Yeah. Total.
And I even shorten that up, say 3 to 5. That is such a hard conversation for people to have behind their eyeballs of like, it doesn't have to check every box ever made. Like, it just has to, you just need to get in. Just get into the real estate market. And in the state of California, we're like 57% cheaper than most other counties in California. Where are you going to find, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool for under $450,000 in the state of California? Where else can you find that? You can't.
Can't. Not in a city that's got 800,000 people, and
growing.
Most of the amenities you'd expect, I tell people we're a 1-horse town, right? That means our PF Chang's has 1 horse instead of 2. It's still a PF Chang's though, and we have one. So, but at the same time, you can afford a backyard and an RV parking. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. So, we're a 1-horse town, Angel.
You and I, like you said, we will run into each other. We will see each other at events. We will see each other around our community because that's Bakersfield. As big as we are, 850 in our town, collectively Kern County 1.5 easy, but like it still feels like a very small community when you're out and about and living your life. It's amazing. Well, thank you, Dan. I am so glad your website is down below. Everybody can reach you. I will put your further information in the description below. For those of you that are thinking about moving to Bakersfield, Dan is your guy. He will help you work all the numbers.
So if you're leaving Bakersfield or considering leaving California or something like that too, I can help you outside of California.
Okay, share that story really fast. So I have buyers that are buying a house. I'm selling their house, they're downsizing. The house that they're buying is your client.
The house of my clients that are moving to Texas, and I'm doing their loan in Texas.
I love it. That proves our point about Bakersfield. Like that's just like in LA and Orange County, that would never happen. People would have no, it would just be so random. Here, that happens more than we know.
Yep.
I freaking love it. Thank you, Dan. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Yep.
So there you have it. You have my conversation with Dan. We covered the numbers. We covered the interest rates. We covered our tinfoil hats, and we covered buying real estate in the state of California. If this is for you, I look forward to seeing you around town.